Hello, my friends. I want to talk about what we're stepping into. We're really growing into our heart work here and what that looks like, what we're kind of moving through right now to get to that side and to get to that operating place for ourselves. So let's go ahead and dive in.
Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light coming? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light coming? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light?
So a lot of us right now may be processing a lot of grief. We may not even realize it. It may just be energetic, or there may be things that we have physically, or people that we have physically and actually lost. So what's happening is we're releasing the old world. We're releasing the things that got us to this point. And my guides love to show me these images of a train. So they're showing me the train again. If you watch any of my old videos, the train is kind of a through line. But we're on this train and we're looking out the window, but it's like we've just come through this tunnel and we can feel on the other side is this old life, this old version of us. And a lot of us might be having this experience right now. I don't know if it's nostalgia or something similar where it's like there's this old version of us kind of hanging there where it's like, can't we just go back? What if we just went back and like maybe it'd be okay this time? Can we just go there? I found love in those moments there before. I can find it again. And I think we're feeling like, am I in the right place? I don't know. This fear of like moving into the unknown and this brand new place for ourselves energetically. But the guides were saying that if we were to go back to those old places, or if like, I just want to see it one more time or be with them one more time, it's like, it would feel empty. That we would kind of look at that energy and be like, wow, there's not much here for me anymore. I'm not feeling connected to it. And it feels so foreign to me. I can't believe I ever thought like this was a place that I would find comfort in. It's so conditional. And we're releasing that now. We're feeling like, okay, it's okay for me to release this, but we're still having this connective tissue to it just a little bit. And as we move forward, the thing that's really going to pull us out of this old world is moving into this new place for ourselves. So we're really moving into our heart work, and there's many levels to that. And the first is, of course, stepping into what our heart is bringing forward with these ideas, these excitements of, I want to create this, I want to build this. And that's where we really need to learn to trust ourselves. And as these ideas are coming up, we may have fears coming up as well. Fears that want to tell us, oh, you can't do this, you're not going to succeed at this, you're not good enough. And it's like, maybe I should just play it cool, and maybe I shouldn't get too excited. Or it's like, we'll do it kind of half-heartedly, and it's like, well, I tried. And it's like, no. Who's that author, Barbara Marciniak, who wrote Bringers of the Dawn? If you haven't read that book, I definitely recommend it because it's very prominent for these times right now. But there's two words. She channels the Pleiadians, and I believe they said there's two words that we should remove completely from our human vocabulary, and those are the words try and should. And these are huge right now because it feels like we're not just trying to make things happen. We are making things happen. And there's a difference in that energy. It's, no, I'm doing this because I'm called and my heart is telling me, and I know that it holds the path now, so I know it's going to happen. And even if I have to knock on 15 different doors to be like, hey, would you be interested in helping me with this? And they all say no, it's okay, because the universe is just making it crystal clear of the path that I do need to take. The universe is like, we're teaching you how we work, and that's through trust. We're going to give you a ping, you follow it, and then there's something you needed to glean from that. We're making you stronger, and you keep moving forward. So this is part of the heart. We need to trust what the heart is saying. We have to grow into that confidence. When we're fully in that confidence of, yes, I know this is going to happen for me, then that's when it does. But if we're like, okay, the heart did this and I'm bringing it up and I kind of half-heartedly did it. But I'm still like, oh, I don't know. I'm scared. I'm afraid. This is something we need to look at. So we're processing this grief. We're letting go of not just these old versions of us, these old places and things and people that don't fit anymore, but we're letting go of these patterns that we created in order to find safety and security. Big root chakra stuff here. As we ground into this new reality and this new way of being, we're clearing a lot of root stuff because it's like, okay, we've kind of gone through the chakras here. And it's like, boom, we're hitting like heavy hitters here. So I think for a lot of us, there might be some deeper inner child stuff coming up of understanding like why these patterns have come up for us. Why we've tried to seek receiving love and safety in certain ways and where we didn't have it in childhood. So as we do that, as this comes up, we have to look at it. We have to say, okay, I see you. I'm not going to dwell on it, but I am going to see what's here and move forward. And it's like, I can feel people groaning, being like, oh, there's more healing work. There's more of this to do. And it's like, there's always going to be some of this to do in big and little and subtle ways. But this is the journey to spiral in and keep finding these deeper understandings about who we truly are and how we've put these layers on top of us to hide it. We're going to keep coming back to the self. So we're releasing, we've moved through this tunnel, and on the other side of it are all of these patterns in which we kept trying to seek safety, security, and love, comfort from other people, from certain situations and circumstances. Oh, if I can just do all these things to make other people happy, when they're happy, then they'll give me love. So I need to keep doing things to make sure they're happy. Oh, if I just fix all this stuff for other people, and I'm constantly the caretaker, okay, then I'll feel good about myself because they're feeling better. Like, what's your pattern here about how you kept trying to find safety and security? You know, we're releasing a lot of how we tried to grab it externally. And now we're really noticing how we're trying to grab it from ourself. The same patterns that we use to get those moments of conditional love, we're still enacting them in ourselves. So if it's like, oh, I just need to achieve and do all this stuff, I need to keep doing and doing, and if I can do this, then that means I'll be happy. And then I can love myself. So the same pattern that we utilized to get love from other people, we also use with ourselves. And this is the deeper part that we're pulling out. Finding that safety within ourselves. Accepting and loving ourselves as is. You don't have to do anything in order for me to love you. You just need to be you. And as we do that, then we learn that when these pings come through from the heart of like, do this, move forward with this, isn't this exciting? This is what you're here to create. We can say, yes, I love myself so much that I know this is real and I'm going to follow it. And I know it's going to happen. This is deep heart work. This is the place we're moving forward in and towards. Oh, my heart sings and feels excited about this idea. This is right. I don't need to keep doing. My heart's going to say, I love you no matter what. I love you so much. I'm going to give you this idea. You wouldn't have this idea if you weren't worthy of it. If you weren't ready for it, it wouldn't be showing up. So follow it. We're learning to hold that space for ourselves, to give ourselves that love and that comfort so we can process through this. And this is the other part of the deep heart work. Not like shaming ourselves, of shaming other people, telling ourselves, well, you need to do this, you need to do that. It's just, okay, you're feeling this thing, this grief, this sadness, this anger. Tell me more about that. What's here? Where is it coming from? And we just hold that space. Just like when you're struggling with something, if you go talk to somebody, really all they have to do is listen and hold that space. And you can process through so much just having a loving space held for you. And I'm sure we've all experienced this, where we have been talking with somebody and they're holding space for us. And then we go into a struggle that we're dealing with, and they say something like, well, have you tried this? Or maybe you should do this. Or, this is getting too low vibe. And you're just like, Jesus Christ. All I needed was someone to just listen. And they just demolished me in that one phrase. And then you feel like a piece of shit. You're just like, God, did I do something wrong? Why did they say this? Now I need to do something to make them happy so that I feel loved. And we go back into our conditioning. It's so funny that we call it conditioning. Conditioned love, too. I'll love you on condition. So when we learn to hold this space for ourselves and do this inner work and this grief, holding space for our grief, it opens up our heart and makes us so much more expansive. We create more room for our own self-worth and confidence to come forward so that we can build out what we're here to build for the new earth. So how is it that you are trying to get love from yourself? How is it that you tried to get love and safety from other people? Parents, caretakers, friends, coworkers, whatever it may be, strangers. How can I get them to feel like they love me so that I feel safe? We use that same pattern on ourselves. So bringing awareness to that, and then finding that work that's going to help us uncover it and release it so that we can have greater capacity to hold more of who we are and bring more of our heart forward and the path that we want to create. My guides were like, this is the deepest receiving of love. When we allow ourselves to follow what our heart is showing us to follow. When it comes through and there's no doubt about it, and we say, yes. Okay, yes, I'm going to follow this. And it doesn't matter if I get rejected 50 times. I know that this is my path. And I know that my heart and the universe are going to keep showing me how to move forward with this. And that when it's the right time, it's going to come to fruition. And I'm going to do what I can now, as I am right now, to move forward with this. The deepest receiving of love is the receiving of the wonders of your heart. This is the heart work. And as we learn to do this for ourselves, we're teaching ourselves to do this for other people. Because very soon there's going to be a whole wave of people that are going to go through their awakening. And they're going to enter into this chaotic cycle of healing and cleansing and self-doubt and shame and pulling all this stuff up that's coming to the surface and pulling it out. And by us following our heart and creating into physical form places that they can go to feel held and loved and received, that they get to come to people like us and say, man, I'm dealing with this. And you can say, tell me more. And you just grab their hand or you rub their back as they're crying and releasing. And you just create space for them to move through the process that they need to move through. Instead of saying, well, maybe you should do this. And we're doing this on all levels. This might be interpersonally, but also as a collective. There's so much stuff out there right now where we get to throw our opinion into the world. And the guides are like, where are we keeping our point of view so limited that we have to make other people be that way? I mean, I get comments all the time on social media and emails of like, you're wrong for saying this, or you shouldn't wear makeup, or you shouldn't do this, and you shouldn't do that. And it's just like, wow, that's your thinking. Where is that coming from? Because when we do this, when we go on and we feel the need, I got to tell this person this, even if we think it's well-intentioned, if we're pushing our point of view onto somebody else, instead of just holding the space for them to be and process and move through what they are, or to be in the courage of stepping forward to like be the fullness of themselves, it's like, let's just hold space for that too. The more we can learn to hold this space and be in this heart place of like, we're safe. We don't need to fix anything. We just need to let them process through it. It's like, I'm just going to talk about the makeup real quick because I get a lot of comments about that. Who would think a woman, God, getting comments about how she looks in this world? Never. But people love to make comments about it. And whether it's well-intentioned or not, we kind of like, why? I used to watch these like makeover shows when I was a teenager, and I'm sure you know the kind that I'm talking about. They probably still do them, where it's like, oh, this person's heinous. They're a hoarder, and look at the outfits they wear. She's worn the same clothes for the past 20 years, and she dresses like a hippie, and she wears blue eyeshadow, and it's just like, okay, who cares? But then they would make all of these people over, and they all would always look the same type of haircut, same type of clothing. It's like everyone would look like they shop at Pottery Barn and like vacation in the Outer Banks. Not that there's anything wrong. We need those people too. But like, I would always watch those shows and I'm like, the person was more interesting before the makeover. Like, I'd rather hang out with the person who wears globs of blue eyeshadow because, I don't know, they have a different point of view of the world. And it's like, the 3D wants us to think that oneness means we all think the same. We all do the same thing. And it's not. Oneness is about all of us being the uniqueness of ourselves, following our heart and what we want to do. And for a lot of people, and for women, especially myself, sometimes makeup is a form of self-expression. And it's like, I got to tell you, I love wearing a bold lip. Love it. In my 20s, I loved it so much. And I remember I was so scared to do it because I'm afraid people are going to say something about it, or I was too young to wear something like that. And it's like, oh, where are you going with that lip? I'm like, I'm going to the gym. What's it to you? And it's like, for me, it was like, I love the color. And there was just something about it that I was just like, this is like me expressing myself. It wasn't me trying to hide my hideous face without the makeup. It's just like, no. But it's like, we have to understand that our point of view is our point of view. And it's always open for expansion. And if we feel like we need to tell somebody else, this is how you should do something, or you'd be better this way, we got to check ourselves. And I'm not exempt from this. I do it too. My husband and I eat really clean, but sometimes he makes food choices where I'm like, don't you think if you'd eat this, this has this in it? And I'm just like, Sarah, relax. Let people have their experience and love them as they are. This is the hard work. If someone comes to you and they're struggling so bad, they're like, my marriage is falling apart. My job doesn't resonate anymore. I'm losing friends, but they have like globs of blue eyeshadow on. Are you going to be like, well, maybe you should try the natural look? It's like, no, let them cry their mascara and blue eyeshadow all over the place. And you hold their hand and you hug them and say, it's okay. Tell me more. And allow them to process. And if they continue to do that moving forward, we love them as is. We need differences in the world. We need people to be able to express themselves in the way that they feel safe doing it. And when we have to tell people you need to do it this way or be this way, or I prefer you like this, what you're actually pinging on is an unsafety in you. You feel if I can just get this person to be this way, then I'll feel safer. And this is what's coming up for us. Where do we feel that we have to do things in order to feel safe? because we think the unknown is an unsafe place. Our bodies may be freaking out a little bit because we're leaving an old world behind. We're releasing an old version of us. But there is safety in our uniqueness. There is safety in honoring the heart and building out into the unknown. And this is what we're here to show the world. It's safe for you to express and be you. I mean, we look all over social media and it's like the comments are always like arguments. And let me tell you how what you said is wrong and you shouldn't be doing this and you shouldn't be wearing that and blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, Jesus Christ. There's plenty of like wonderful comments too, but it's like, where are we getting here? And just because, we're spiritual, it doesn't make us exempt from any of this. We still have to step into this awareness of these patterns and these behaviors and this crunchiness that just comes up and it's like, it's okay. I'm safe to just hold the space and to let things be as is. And when we tell people, you should try this or you should do this, there's those words again, should and try, even the energy of insinuation about it, the insinuation of should, we're not helping them heal. We're not holding that space for them. In fact, we're adding to their trauma. But we're just here to hold that space for ourselves and hold space for people to decide what it is that they need for themselves. We're not here to intervene. And this is all over the place in social media. And I know it's like, oh, my one little rant about it isn't going to shift the whole thing. But if you're here watching this video, you're probably a highly conscious person. So let's be highly conscious of what we're putting out there. And the space that we're holding, even in the collective, the space that we're creating, even in the collective, on social media is a space where we are learning to hold a certain space for people. So what is it that we're creating and putting out there? And what place is it coming from within us? So the guides were also saying that as we do this, there's this whole other wave that's about to awaken. They're going to step into their turmoil. We're going to be witnessing them dealing with struggle and pain. And we are creating a place for them to be held. And a lot of this grief that may be coming up later on, after these people start to awaken, won't be ours. So we have to process our grief now. That is ours. That's personal for us as we release this old world and start stepping into the creation of this new one. We may feel grief again once we feel like we've moved through this, but it'll be the collectives. It'll be that awakening collective stepping into their grief. And we need to know the difference. And when we feel it, we have to ask, is this mine or is it other people's? And we drop into the heart and we say, it's okay. And it's like we telepathically connect and say, it's okay. We send them that heart and that love and that safety for them to be in the processing of that. And we can sit and hold that space with them. And there might be a little bit of processing it for them, and that's okay. We've had people do that for us. But we need to be clear on the grief that will be coming up in the later months. And to learn to hold space for the awakening collective through holding the space for ourself and our dreams and desires and this inner child work that may be coming up to release patterns, understanding why we may have started certain behaviors in order to feel safe, and looking at that and holding space for that moment to just allow and talk and reveal itself so that then we can release. The heart is the great space holder so that people can process. So with this, the guides are also saying let's flip the news. If you think about the world, everyone is watching the news. What's going to happen? What is the bad thing that happened in the world today? What's everybody doing? The drama. Oh, the drama. It's like everybody's in it. So they're saying, let's flip the news. Let's give them something to talk about. It's like, as we step into our heart work and building out this new earth from the worth that is within ourselves, from the value that we see within these ideas and these excitements that are coming through in our heart, and knowing they are going to happen, this is the path. People are going to start being like, what's going on here? There's something here that I need to see. And that is going to be more of what people want to know about. And the news is going to be like, wait, where's everybody going? Don't you want the drama? And they're like, no, we want this. They were showing me like this crowd of people sitting on these bleachers. And there's this railing. And on the other side of the railing is like this natural pool with this rock around it and this little waterfall. And they're just looking at the water. And I'm like, what is this? And it felt like a show is about to start. And all of a sudden, this like being walks down in between the bleachers, hops the railing, and goes into the water and under the waterfall. And the water pours over this being, and they turn into this like translucent looking light being. And then they move out into the water, and it's like they grab things out of thin air and they just bring them together. And it's like, boom, this physical thing gets created. And you see the crowd go, oh, wow, how did they do that? And it's like, this is what we're becoming. It's not that like we're becoming the show that everyone's just going to look at, kind of, but it's like in a good way. They're going to look at it and be like, oh, I need to know how to do that. How did they basically just pull this stuff out of thin air and create it into something amazing? And it's like, well, I didn't pull it out of thin air. I pulled it through the memory and in my cells, in my soul. I pulled it from my higher self. I pulled it up from the higher dimensions and the parts of me that are up there. And I'm bringing it into this world. And I'm trusting and knowing with full confidence, I'm here to create this and make this happen. I'm not second guessing myself anymore. I'm not in this fear of like, well, what if I won't be provided for? What if this happens? Or what if it's not enough? What if I'm not enough? And what if it doesn't come through? Or I should do this instead. I tried and I don't know. And it's just like we're releasing all of that and saying, no, this is coming through. I deserve it. And the world, these awakening waves are going to be like, yes, there's something to this. I need to go look at this. I need to go over here. And we're flipping the news on its head. We've been watching the world and all of its chaos for so long, and now we're commanding the attention through our hearts. Let me show you how this gets better. It's like, watch us now. And we command that energy and that attention, not in a selfish way, but in a good way of like, we want you to have this too. And we build this by being aware of like, that's what's happening. We see these things happening. Okay, I see this. It's even more fuel for me to step into this heart place so that people have somewhere to lean on to. It's really important. When we follow our heart, when we feel worthy of what our heart is telling us and say, yes, this is my path forward now. And when the fear comes up with that and we listen to it and just hold space for it and allow it to say what it needs to say, and we have understanding to it and say, okay, I see you, but we're moving in this direction now. And we do that deeper work, and we may work with practitioners or healers or whatever to help open up those new brain pathways and those new pathways in the heart so that we can follow ourselves and hold space for that and create this brand new reality. This is the heart work. This is how we become the heart worker. This deep knowing of my heart is the guide now. And when the heart is in command, in this intuitive space, this feminine leadership, Then the masculine is like the mind. It's going to go, oh, this is what you want? Well, remember this person that you met 5 years ago? You should reach out to them. And then you find this connection. And it's like, wow, now I'm building something. And the mind's going to be on the lookout for it for you. Not trying to figure it out, but in a way of like honoring what's coming through. We are becoming the Heartworker. We have to honor these parts of ourselves and these patterns and behaviors that are keeping us from loving ourselves unconditionally, that are keeping us from loving ourselves and others as is. So the last thing I want to talk about is that we're in a culmination lifetime. This lifetime is bigger and probably feels way different than many other lifetimes. It's because we're bringing a lot of things to an end. And as we do, we're building the new. And that means we're closing out a lot of trauma and things from other lifetimes. And it feels like right now we're hitting a pocket of this lifetime, the things from childhood that we need to clear out that are still kind of just like cobwebs that have been sitting in the corner. But we're closing all of this out. So it may feel like over and over and over again, we're giving birth to this new version of ourselves. And every time we do that, we are closing out huge chunks of the past that we've carried with us. Because we can't take them into this new earth. So we're bringing a lot to an end here, personally and collectively. Because we're graduating to a new level. So, if anything, you should be proud of yourself for even taking that on. Your soul is so powerful that you can close out all of this in one lifetime. Like thousands of lifetimes, maybe even more than that. We're closing out all of this stuff from. And you can probably feel those doors shut in your own energy system. So give yourself a huge freaking pat on the back. And start believing in what your heart is showing you. And trusting it and moving forward with it. One of the worst things we can do right now is to second guess ourselves and not do anything at all. It's time to start putting our best foot forward, our best heart forward, and creating what we're here to create. Take those steps. Allow your heart and your universe to bring it to fruition for you. All you have to do is say, all right, I'm going to show up and I'm going to take the step. Even if this isn't a yes, it's okay, I'm doing something, then show me what's next. We're willing to be of service, and we do that through our action. And then we come back and we ask the heart, okay, what else is here? We're working with the heart too. It's the leader. Okay, all right, what else is here? And the brain interprets it. And then we go out into the world and we're like, okay, this seems like a place I want to go. This is a person I want to talk to. Oh, look at this opportunity. I want to take this class. I want to do this thing. There's something here for me. My heart wants it. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So this is the multi-leveled, the multi-layered heart work that we're stepping into. It's so exciting. But right now, process that grief, discover those patterns and ways to release them so that you can start honoring yourself and holding space for who you are as is. And when you accept that, then you start to move through it so that you can hold space for other people when they start going through their awakening and accepting them as is so that they can move through and process things on their own. This is how things move faster instead of us intervening and trying to say it needs to be this. And trusting and taking action on the things that our heart is bringing through, knowing we are completely worthy of it, that this is the path, that there's so much safety and love and comfort when we follow this. We are receiving the deepest amount of love for ourselves that we possibly can when we follow the excitement of what our heart is bringing through. All right, my friends, I hope this helps. Thank you so much for being here. exciting times. I will talk to you soon.
Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light coming? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light? Do you feel the light coming?